Hi everybody, I'm Scott Bino, Vice President of Marketing for North America here at Crawford & Company, and today on Crawford Chat, I'm joined by Michelle Montgomery, who is the Global Chief Marketing Officer at Crawford & Company. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Okay, hardest question first. What is your job, Michelle? What do you do at Crawford & Company as the Global CMO?
So thank you, Scott, for having me.
Yeah.
As the Chief Marketing Officer at Crawford & Company, my role is broken into three main parts in terms of overseeing the global marketing and communications team, which encompasses the brand team, the marketing team, and the communications team. We are a center of excellence, and we support the businesses around the globe and work very closely with the marketing and communications people in the business who are embedded in the business. Another part of my role is to be part of the executive leadership team and be involved with all aspects of that. And I think that's basically it in a nutshell.
It's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
It is a lot of things. And chief marketing officers' roles in different companies have dramatically changed in the last 10 years. A lot are more towards the communications officer or chief revenue officer. And so at Crawford here, it has evolved since I first started 6 years ago.
Great. So what I want to do today is I want to talk more specifically about branding. Okay. So for those watching, and I think it's important for people to know in this business and in our industry, what branding is. So beyond logos and beyond design, what would you say is branding for somebody who doesn't know?
Sure. Well, before I answer that, I would like to make a distinction between a brand and branding, because people use them interchangeably. So a brand is the perception of a product or a company. And branding is the actions that we do in marketing to shape that brand. So in essence, we don't own our own brand. Our brand lives in the minds of our customers and the people that interact with us. So that is why, as employees, it is important how we act, how we show up every day. That represents our brand. Our people are our most important brand asset. So it goes well beyond the logo. It goes well beyond, using the right signature in your email. Everything we do is branding, and everything that we do as employees represents Crawford as a brand.
So you kind of touched on my next question, which is brand narratives, right? So why are brand narratives so important in shaping the identity of our company and the perception of our company in the marketplace?
Well, a brand narrative, just to define it a little bit, I think each company will define brand narrative a little bit differently. But it's basically an articulation or a framework of what you want your brand to stand for. At Crawford, part of our brand narrative is restoring lives, businesses, and communities. And that, along with our strategic pillars of quality, expertise, and digital, shape the narrative that we want to say. If you see our marketing or our communications, pretty much every time it will hit on one of those aspects. And it is important for consistency, because if we start saying different things to different people, or we try to say everything to everyone, we say nothing to no one.
Right.
So consistency of a brand narrative, and it's a framework. So every time we're writing a white paper or putting out a blog or in an interview, we have this framework that we're constantly hitting on. And each business may hit on it a little bit different, but the consistency is the important part of a brand narrative. So
let's pull on the consistency thread. I think that's a challenge, I think, for some. So how do you ensure consistency across different platforms? Because we exist in so many platforms now.
Right.
As a company officially, but also as individuals, which we encourage, to go out there and represent Crawford. How do we ensure that consistency across, multi-platform?
Right. Well, I'll admit right up front that consistency can be a challenge, especially with a company of our size and a diverse offering that we have across the globe. But the brand narrative is important. So when we establish kind of a tone of voice, and then we show up with that tone of voice in each platform. However, it is important to note that our tone of voice can and should change depending on the platform. So for example, in social media, we are a little bit more conversational, a little bit more informal. In other aspects, like a white paper or a report, we want to be a little bit more authoritative.
Yeah.
And so that tone shift is okay because it's appropriate for the audience and for the platform that we're in. But again, consistency of a brand is difficult because, again, coming back to our employees, they're the ones that are representing us oftentimes with the presentations that they give, with the emails that they send, being at a conference, or the apparel that they're wearing.
Right.
So it is very important that we first and foremost educate our most important target audience, which is our employees. Mm-hmm. We do create a lot of materials in the global marketing and communications team, from brand guidelines to our narrative of our tone of voice, but people need to know it and understand it and use it.
Yeah. So on the opposite end of the spectrum of consistency, let's talk about evolution.
Yeah.
How do you manage brand evolution in terms of changing workforce or even changing market conditions? How do we manage through this idea of trying to remain consistent and be,
right,
this cohesive brand, to saying, well, what happens 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and how do we bring everybody along for the ride?
Yeah.
If you will?
Brands definitely need to evolve over time to adapt to their own culture and then the market conditions. But there should always be foundational elements that don't change. So for example, at Crawford, one of our foundational statements, which was penned by our founder, Jim Crawford, is top quality promptly. Now, top quality promptly is one of the most important value propositions, but we are so much more than that. And we need to evolve from that, building on that foundation, to speak to now what our brand stands for, which is the expertise of the people, which is about the innovation and technology our people bringing into market that ultimately come and deliver quality claims, outcomes for our clients. So I believe that in a B2B service industry, you can be a vendor that delivers on tasks that are asked of you, or you can be a strategic partner that is a powerful brand. So the brand kind of delivers that partnership to an extent, and it's important that our brand perception evolves to where we want to be, and not being afraid of shifting and changing in the market, but again, coming back to some of the foundational elements that made Crawford Crawford. It's not the whole story, and we need to make sure that in the market, people understand the evolution of Crawford, the technology, the people that ultimately leads to that quality delivery.
Perfect. And last question, and it kind of harkens back to the first question I asked you in some of your response, but what role does culture play in a brand, and how can employees in Crawford or in any company contribute to the success of a brand?
Yeah, culture is our people, first of all, as I mentioned, are our most important asset. And in order for people to be proud to work at Crawford, that comes with the culture. So if the culture is bad or the culture is inconsistent, that will show up in the market. No matter if everybody has the correct logos and is also all on brand, that will show up. So Peter Drucker, who is a famous management consultant, said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And basically what that means is you could have an amazing brand in your mind, but none of that is going to come to life if your culture is not solid. So again, coming back that our most important brand asset is our people. People need to be proud that they work at Crawford. Mm-hmm. And they need to be able to speak to Crawford, who we are, what we do, and why we do it. That starts with culture. So it's one of the, it is the most important aspect of our brand.
Well, excellent answer. Listen, I really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy today, so thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me. Thanks everybody to watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of Crawford Chat. Here we go. That's it proper. How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
It depends on the day. Sometimes 30, sometimes an hour, because I need time in between.
Okay. How would your husband answer that question?
2 hours.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Ooh, Sean Cassidy.
Oh, Sean Cassidy.
Yeah. I mean, I was really quick.
Me, yeah, I know you were. Favorite childhood TV show?
Well, I don't know what my favorite childhood TV show. I mean, I watched The Brady Bunch, but not in real time because I'm not that old.
Cake or pie?
Totally cake. Pies are weird. Like
Pies
if you
are weird. Okay,
well,
go on.
because like if you say cake, you're generally gonna know what you get. But if you say pie, you could get pumpkin. You get like rhubarb. You have no.
Rhubarb is weird.
Yeah, rhubarb is off.
I don't understand people
that a
like
vegetable?
rhubarb. I think it is. Taylor Swift or Beyonce? These are hard questions.
This is a very hard
Yeah.
question. I'm gonna have to go Taylor Swift on that
Okay.
one. But that was
okay.
tough.
You probably just made a lot of enemies. Okay, salsa, dancing or dip?
Ooh, totally dip.
What was for dinner last night?
For dinner last night was something we called Daddy Chipotle.
Okay, do you care to expand? Daddy Chipotle. That's my rap name, actually. That's my rapper name. Yeah.
We are more conservative or authoritative. Authoritative?
We'll take it. That's a word.
Authoritative?
We'll take it.
Authoritative. So